Hey everybody, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. But today, we have to talk about alert fatigue because, quite frankly, this is becoming a very serious issue. Now, odds are, if you're watching or listening to this, you're probably on a mobile device, usually your mobile phone. And that's where the problem comes in. Now, Michael Savage of The Guardian had a really good write-up on this because evidence is mounting that the prevalence of specifically news alerts has given rise to alert fatigue, which basically some of us getting more than 50 notifications a day. So the rise of news aggregators, think like Google News, Apple News, etc., on our mobile devices, Android and iPhone, means that some users can receive more than one alert about the same story. Think about everything that's going on in the world today. Israel decides to shoot missiles at Iran, or Iran decides to shoot missiles at Israel, and now you've got like 20 different apps, everything from MSNBC to Fox News, CNN, you name it, and now they're all popping off on that story. So analysis was done by the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism, and they found that 79% of people surveyed on this subject around the entire world said they do not currently receive any news alerts basically during an average week. So in other words, 21% of us are getting it. But here's the critical part about that 79%. 43% actually say they don't receive alerts because they've actively disabled them. I'll get to this, but I'm in that 43%. So they complained of receiving too many alerts or not finding these alerts useful, according to the research, which again was around the world, but specifically in 28 different countries. The use of news alerts has grown over the last decade. Weekly news alerts in the United States have grown from 6% to 23% in phone users since 2014, and 3% up to 18% in the United Kingdom, according to this analyst. Researchers also found that companies are acutely aware that they are walking this balance, this fine line between notifying you about crucial information and causing you to unsubscribe by sending them too many updates. So the study discovered that some publishers, for the record, are less restrained than others. This is actually really interesting. So in the United Kingdom, the Times sends no more than 4 alerts a day. The Financial Times, though, sends a number of news alerts to everyone and then personalized notifications at the same time each day for those users who opt in. And it gets a little worse because the Jerusalem Post and CNN Indonesia were found to typically be sending up to 50 alerts every single day, and some news aggregator apps were sending even more than that. The New York Times, for the record, averaged 10 a day. Tagesschau in Germany, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, averaged just under 2, 1.9. NDTV in India, 29.1 every single day. So heads up, Indians, that's your major news source. BBC News, obviously the global service out of the UK, averaged 8.3 per day. The Guardian, which basically is the who published this article, is sending out about 7 times a day, according to the research tool they use to study this all over the world. So this research comes amid a battle for essentially your lock screen. Think about it. It's basically the prime location that companies are looking at to seek to build closer relationships with their audiences and customers. In other words, you don't have to unlock your phone. You get that pop-up from your favorite news source, whatever that is, and boom, they've got you. Right? So news alerts essentially are now in competition for positions on your lock screen. Aside from messages from social media companies, think Facebook, Instagram, whatever alerts, game alerts as well, entertainment app, hey, Netflix has something new, and they're putting it on your home screen. Too many alerts cause problems for the entire industry. And the big smartphone software operators such as Google and Apple, they are warning publishers about sending too many alerts. And this has led to concerns that these platforms could then further restrict or mediate their notifications in the future. And I think this is actually a really big thing. I have, when I download an app, any app, I don't care what it is, after vetting it, I usually turn off notifications unless it's something I need notifications on. So for example, I have apps, for the airlines, like American Airlines, United, whatever. I let those alert me because oftentimes if I'm flying on American Airlines or whichever one, I'm going to want those alerts to come at me to say, hey, you have a gate change, you've been delayed, which literally just happened to me a couple of days ago, and on and on and on. So that said, I disable almost everything, and I'm reading news constantly. My day job kind of requires that, as one of the things we do here is also quantification of political risk. So I'm constantly reading news about current events, about politics, both here in the United States and also around the world, but I don't use alerts. I go to sources that I want to read, news aggregators, etc., etc. And interestingly enough, for my own privacy and my own security, especially here in the United States, and I'll talk about this in a second here, I don't have any alerts or notifications on absolutely anything on my lock screen. If you send me a message, a text, a whatever, even a phone call, I am not going to see it on my mobile phone. And the reason being is here in the United States, that can be used against you in the court of law. Now, I've done segments on the past on this where essentially the police, if they have your phone, let's say your accomplice, and hopefully you're not a criminal, but your accomplice texts you and says, hey, we got away with the bank heist, boom, that pops up on your lock screen, and it basically, the police see it, that can be used against you. That can also be used to obtain a warrant to unlock your phone. So, I say all of that to say that the best thing that you can do is to reduce all of these alerts. You should be reading the news. We should be keeping up on things. I think part of the reason why we're in this mess is that we don't read news, we don't read history. We're distracted by sports or entertainment or all of these other things that we have, but it's so important for civic engagement. So, read the news, get out there and do that, but turn off the alerts because quite frankly, they're going to drive you up a wall. And if you're getting 50 alerts a day on every minor thing, every time Sanjay Gupta finds a new eye cream, on CNN, you don't need an alert for that. And if you start turning those things off and don't make an effort to read the news, we're right back where we started. So make sure you're turning off those alerts, but make sure you're reading the news. I think that's super important. And if you are listening to this and you are working for basically one of the big news sources I just mentioned, for the love of God, stop spamming us with stuff. There's big things. If countries are firing rockets at each other, I want to know about that. If Sanjay Gupta has an eye cream, I don't care. Understand, tailor, and here we are. So best of luck to us all, but I don't think this one's going away anytime soon, but alert fatigue is an actual, very real thing. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well, where you might get an alert about my video because you're a subscriber. Sorry, but I hope you watch. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private, secure, and online. Take care.